Thank you, and thank you for all the attendance tonight. It's great to see everybody out. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Is there any conflict of interest amongst council members here tonight? Seeing none, I need a motion for the adoption of the published agenda, please. I need a mover, Councillor Vandendolen and Councillor Verbeek. Questions, Deputy Mayor Malash.
Through your worship, I had a couple of items that I had sent in for, I don't know if we were going to do it as a notice of motion or whether we were going to do it under new business, but perhaps you're aware of, is it under new business? Pockets, Corners, and the other one was, okay, thank you. Yep, thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else? All in favor? Okay, it's carried, and I need the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting on February 3rd, please. I need a mover. Deputy Mayor Malash and Councillor Vandendolen. All in favor? It's carried. And I need the adoption of the special meeting January 13th. I need a mover, please. Councillor Verbeek and Councillor Vandendolen. All in favor? It's carried. And we're going to go right into public presentations, and it's a Community Heritage Preservation Awards. And tonight, as you may or may not know, Monday marked the beginning of Heritage Week 2020, and tonight Council is welcoming some very special guests here tonight. Every year, the Heritage Committee and Council honor individuals and organizations who have contributed to the celebration and recognition of our community's incredible history with the Community Heritage Preservation Awards. So before the awards, before we hand out the awards, I'd like to introduce Rita Jabor, please. If you can come forward.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you for the introduction and the introduction to Heritage Week. As Mayor Snively just noted, my name is Rita Jabor, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the Manager of Planning Service here at the town of Essex, but I am also the staff liaison for the Essex Municipal Heritage Committee, and I've been in this role for the last 5 years, and I can say very proudly that I have a very strong committee. The town of Essex has a very strong Heritage Committee. I see at least one member in the crowd, so if you're with the Heritage Committee, please raise up your hand. There's Richard. And we also have very strong and dedicated volunteers within our community in organizations that support the preservation of our heritage. They include AIRS, the Harrow Early Immigrant Research Society, the Essex Community Historical Research Society, and the John R. Park Homestead, which is one of the winners of our Community Heritage Preservation Awards for 2020. Before we present the Friends of John R. Park Homestead with the award, I'd like to say a few words to emphasize their promotion of our history and their dedication to the conservation area. The Friends of the Homestead are an incorporated group of volunteers that work to support the John R. Park Homestead Conservation Area. The Friends formed in 1996 and have been active continuously since that time, dedicating their time, talents, and fundraising efforts to preserve and interpret the historic John R. Park Homestead. The Friends group, on average, consists of between 80 and 90 volunteers total, with a core group of very active volunteers who are at the site weekly. This past year, in 2019, the Friends contributed over 4,400 hours of volunteer service to the site. That's the equivalent of adding 2.5 full-time staff to the site. The individual members of the Friends each have wonderfully unique talents that they contribute. Expertise in sewing, preservation, woodworking, fireplace cooking, blacksmithing, basket weaving, interpretation, event activities, and more. Many Friends learn new skills each year to support the site in areas where the help is most needed. On top of the contribution of the countless hours of time and talents given, the Friends also undertake fundraising efforts by way of bake sales, an annual yard sale, workshops, and more. The The funds generated from these activities are then donated to the homestead to support preservation of the heritage structures, the purchase of new and much-needed special equipment, to support the development of special exhibits and education programs, and much, much more. Whether the staff is seeking matching funds for a major grant application or a coat of paint for a special project, the Friends of the Homestead always offer help in any way they can. The homestead could not welcome the number of visitors it does each year with the incredible support of their friends. They are integral in the effort to keep the homestead standing for future generations. Their dedication and devotion to the site and its story is impactful and inspiring. They are truly the heart of the homestead. And I want to note that these words come from the person who nominated the Friends of Society. So without further ado, Mr. Mayor, if you can join me, I'd like to present the Friends with the Community Heritage Preservation Award. And Deputy Mayor Malash, who has been on the committee until fairly recently for 3 or 4 years. Through you, Mr. Mayor, our next recipient for the Community Heritage Preservation Award is an individual. It's actually 2 individuals. One of the individuals couldn't be here with us tonight. And they are David Bryan and Stephen Punga. David Bryan and Stephen Punga brought together their grade 11 geography students and grade 12 history students for a collaboration called the Lost Cemeteries Project back in 2018. Together, the students researched, surveyed, and published an interactive map and database of headstones belonging primarily to settlers of African descent in Essex County, Ontario. Many of the grave sites were neglected or undocumented, leading students to investigate the historical context of the settlements and the enduring legacy of slavery, racism, and discrimination against early Black settlers and their descendants. Students completed several days of fieldwork in 4 cemeteries to collect data and photograph hundreds of individual headstones. For the project's culmination, the students published their research and data in a high-quality digital map and presented their research to the town of Essex. All the cemeteries that they researched were located within the town of Essex. The project integrated history and geospatial tools and technologies and provided an authentic opportunity for students to consult with historians, town planners, and GIS technologists. Through the Lost Cemeteries Project, the students not only researched their community history, but also took an active role in preserving it by creating an accessible research tool that is a legacy for future historians. And that tool is available on our website. Most notably, I'd like to mention that Mr. Punga and Mr. Bryan were recognized by the Governor General. They received a Governor General Award for this project this year. So it is also a great honor to recognize Mr. Stephen Punga with the Community Heritage Preservation Award tonight. Mr. Mayor, through you, I just want to make one more announcement. We will be presenting 2 Youth Community Heritage Preservation Awards tomorrow at Essex District High School during one of our presentations that forms part of the Heritage Week schedule on the birth of the town of Essex. So I invite members of the public to attend that meeting, everything's a meeting in my head, to attend that event tomorrow at Essex District High School at 8:30, and there's another showing at 10 o'clock, and also to recognize those 2 students. Thank you.
Once again, I want to thank everybody that was involved. That's a lot of work, and thank you for putting everything forward and making this municipality a better place to live. Thank you.
Okay, so you can't tell if someone can hear. Okay. Item 8.1 on the agenda, Community Services Report 2020-01, Special Events Resource Team, the CERT February update. That Community Services Report 2020-01 entitled Special Events Resource Team February Update, prepared by Doug Sweet, be received.
I need a mover, please, to receive it. Have a mover? Councillor Vanendel and Councillor Guerin. Any questions on this one? All in favor? It's carried.
Next is item 8.2, Community Services Report 2020-02, the Essex Rotary Mural Building Agreement, Bylaw 1881 being a bylaw to enter an agreement with Greg Schinkel for the placement of an outdoor mural to the building located at 24 Talbot Street North in Essex.
Mover, please. Councillor Verbeek and Deputy Mayor Malash, any questions on this one here? All in favor? It's carried. Can you people hear us back there? You can, eh? Okay, thank you.
It's a new sound system, so it's kind of off from up here, so it's hard to tell. So thank you for that. Item 8.3, Legal and Legislative Services Report 2020-04, the Essex Striking Committee and the Essex Climate Adaptation Team. That the Legal and Legislative Services Report 2020-04 entitled Essex Striking Committee, Essex Climate Adaptation Team, prepared by Rob Auger, dated February 18th, be received, and that Council approves the creation of an ad hoc committee of Council to be known as the Essex Climate Adaptation Team, or ECAT, and that the proposed Essex Climate Adaptation Team terms of reference be adopted and approved.
Thank you. I think before we go any further with this one here, we have to have somebody from council that's interested in sitting in on this committee. So we're going to have a vote by ballot. Okay, who's ever interested in this position to sit on this committee? I think before we go any farther, we should have a vote to see who wants to be on the committee. But we should have nominations first. So. Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondering if we can nominate somebody and speak to why we would nominate that person. Like, are we just throwing up names? Like, so, as a council, like, when we decided who was going to be the replacement council member on Elk, there was debate and there was justification. So I don't think just throwing up names is the same. We have to follow the same kind of procedures as how we appoint committee members. And I do have another question before we approve all the names as well.
If I may, go ahead, Councillor Verbeek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My recollection when we replaced the council rep at Elk, as opposed to doing it with the striking committee, what we did was have the interested councillors speak a little bit as to why they were interested in the position, and then we voted. That would be my recollection of it.
I think that'd be fine, Councillor. But just to answer Councillor Bondi, one of her questions there, I think everybody sitting at this table here tonight is very, very well aware of climate change, and I think the people that the councillors Well, okay, Councillor Vanadol, he's an exception. He does not believe in it, but that's fine. That's his view. But the rest of us, I think we all agree there is climate change, and I think the rest of council here is quite aware of it. So I don't know why we're going to debate it. I mean, we have people that want to put their names forward, and if Councillor Bondi, if you want to put your name forward, go right ahead and do it. But Councillor Verbeek would want to talk about it, so that's up to council. If council agrees with it, not a problem. And we got to be careful on the debate. Maybe we should be going in camera. No, we don't need to go in camera? Okay, we can have the debate. So Councillor Verbeek, if you want to start debate, go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor Guerin, did you?
I just want to say, are we doing nominations?
Yeah, I don't,
And then ask another person wants to stand even?
Okay, that's good. Yeah, we're going to have nomination first, and then let the nominator, go ahead, Councillor Guerin.
Okay, I'll nominate Councilor Verbeek.
Any other nomination? Councillor Bondi?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like to nominate Councillor Verbeek because I really feel like this is a passion of hers and a really good fit.
Anybody else? No? No more, so I'm going to close nominations. Once, closing them again, twice, they're closed. So if Councillor Verbeek, you'd like to speak first? You have to accept the nomination. I know you want it.
I'll just accept with thanks
Yeah.
to my nominator.
Go ahead, Councillor Verbeek. Go ahead. It's your mic.
I
Go ahead.
accept the nomination with thanks.
Go ahead and answer why you would like to be on the committee.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I have a long history of interest in the climate and the environment. I think I've shown that with serving on the landfill liaison. I see this role as it's laid out in the terms of the role is to be a liaison. The striking committee did an amazing job with all the applicants, bringing together what looks to be a really good committee, and I'd be honored to sit with them and learn as much more as I can, because that's what I've been trying to do for the last 10 plus years, is learn on ways to improve our environment. And I am excited to watch this team build the adaptation plan for our community and witness it and liaison for it. Thank you.
Any other nominations, please? Councillor Guerin?
I was going to nominate Deputy Mayor Meloche for at least, because I know he expressed some interest at the meeting. For at least if Councilor Verbeek can't make it to a meeting, then we have someone on council that can represent. But if I can make a second nomination, I would be okay with that as well, if you'd wish to stand.
Can you make two nominations?
I would think it would be all right. And Sherry nominated Kim as well, so I think that's fine.
Can I nominate?
You can nominate.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Councillor Guerin. Deputy Mayor Meloche, do you accept?
Yes, I'll accept as the stand-in, if that's appropriate. I know that Councillor Verbeek was really enthusiastic about being on this. I was going to put my name in, but I believe that Councillor Verbeek would do a very good job at this, and being a new councillor, it may be a good opportunity for her to grow with this being such an important committee to sit on. So I would like to see Councillor Verbeek in this position.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Verbeek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. And I agree 100% that our Deputy Mayor should be the alternate delegate. And since the striking committee, with the direction of the administrative staff, decided that our climate team would have some delegate alternates in place, our council position probably should too.
That's fine, Councillor. Just a question to Deputy Mayor Meloche. You would not be interested in sitting on the as the chair for this?
I believe that council member is not going to be the chair.
Okay.
I was
You
reading
don't want to be the
Councilor
representative? Do you want, would you still?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, good. Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
So is there any other nominations? Okay, so all in favor of the nomination? Can I see hands again, please? It's carried. Congratulations, Councillor Verbeek. Go ahead, Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondering if our administration can just give a couple sentences, high level, as to the rationale as to why the committee was picked, because I'm probably going to get asked, you know, I think we had a huge selection of names, and people are going to say to me, well, how come my name wasn't on, you know? So just to have a high level explanation might be helpful. Thank you.
Laurie, can you answer that, please?
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Bondi. It's true, there were over 50 applications, and it was an onerous job. Our administration, our team did go through quite a bit of the applications. We had certain criteria that we were looking for. We also, in the application process, were pretty specific on, you know, insight into the individual's experience, education, also their interest in climate adaptation, and really what they could bring to the table in terms of assisting administration in building this adaptation plan. There really were, it was a tough decision at the very end, but when we looked at, you know, a very just black and white, taking a look at the qualifications and bringing experience into the picture, we felt that there were a handful that stood out to us. We also looked at a cross-section of individuals from different sectors. We, for example, if we received 10 or, you know, several from one particular sector, we looked at those individuals and what individual held the strongest application, even those members from the public as well. Unfortunately, we were just limited with our number of seats to 13, actually 12, and 13th being our council member. And so we really needed to kind of dwindle down and really narrow down based on qualifications.
Yeah, if I can just carry on from there. We had a lot of good people apply, and, you know, we put this out. I think this is the most people we ever had was interested in the committee, and really was, you know, the amount of people, and a lot of good people. There was a lot of good people. It was hard. It was hard sitting on the steering committee and choosing people. We looked at each other and we shook our heads, and I argued, but I think we do have a good committee. And again, I want to thank everybody that put their name forward, because that was a lot of people. Never, ever, ever did we have a committee with that many people apply. And that's great to see people are interested in climate. So thank you. Deputy Mayor Milosh.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for explaining that. And I just want to go a little bit more in detail, too. Some of the categories that we were looking for, and I don't know if Councillor Bonnie had this information or not, but we were looking for 2 reps that were from the agricultural side of the world. We were also looking for somebody that had emergency management experience. We were looking for somebody that had IJC, I think, which is International Joint Commission. We were looking for somebody from the transport industry. We were looking for somebody from the energy industry, health unit, waste, youth, environmental management type thing, IRCA. So there were a lot of different categories that we were looking for to try and accomplish to have sitting on this committee that we thought would give some value as far as input goes. Not that there's other people that couldn't give value to it, but their particular expertise helped us in deciding who should be on the committee. There were, as the mayor said, and as our director Chadwick said, we had a difficult time. There was a lot of debate that went on as far as who was going to be on the committee. We do have a mixture of citizens and non-citizens as well, and we talked a lot about that. But the majority of the people sitting on the committee are citizens. But overall, when we looked at it, it just made sense with the people, and administration had done a lot of behind-the-scenes reviewing of the information that we had collected from the forms that these people had submitted, and it did seem like these were the best fits for those different categories.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malash. Anybody else? Good. Would you like to read off the... Councillor Vandenol.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Councillor Malash, you said that the majority are residents, but it looks like, I'm just counting, 6 of the 13 don't live in Essex. Correct? Yeah, it's just a lot of non-residents, just an observance. They're going to be making our policy. Thanks.
No, Councillor will be making the policies here as a council. Yeah, there'll be recommendations coming in, and we're the ones that's going to make the final decisions. So, anybody else? Councillor Guerin.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yeah. We also didn't want to, just because they were local, we didn't want to overlook the experience from the ones that were not local, that were not citizens of the town. So some of the resumes or applicants that came forward, they were very experienced, so we didn't want to overlook that.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Nobody else? Councillor Verbeek.
Just briefly, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to, our deputy mayor, express thanks to all the applicants, but our team have also stated that they will reach out to the people that have shown interest and concern, and keep them informed on this, the creation of this adaptation plan. So I'm really excited that we're going to try and stay in touch with people that showed interest.
So, if there's nobody else on council like to speak, we're going to read off the names, please.
Okay, so I'm going to actually go over all of the recommendations again, just so that we're clear. So the first recommendation was that the Legal and Legislative Services Report entitled Essex Striking Committee, Essex Climate Adaptation Team, dated February 18th, be received. That council approves the creation of an ad hoc committee of council to be known as the Essex Climate Adaptation Team, ECAT, and that the proposed climate adaptation team terms of reference be approved and adopted. That the following individuals be appointed as members of the climate adaptation team: Dan Metcalf, Brandy Bayshard, Brian Highland, Matthew Child, Kelsey Amlin, Brian Lenny, Amandeep Hans, Andrea Descargar, Maddie Peters, Tyler Oglin, Gina Panunzio, Megan Basili. That council appoint Kim Verbeek as the council member and Deputy Mayor Richard Malash as the council alternate to sit on the climate adaptation team.
Thank you, Shelley. So I'm going to need a mover to receive this and adopt this, please. So I need a mover. Councillor Guerin and Deputy Mayor Malash. Any further questions to this one? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you very much.
Item 8.4, Economic Development Report 2020-01, Rebuilding Report and Development Overview for January 2020. That the report prepared by Nelson Silveria, dated February 18, 2020, be received.
Have a mover, please. I need a mover. Councillor Vandendolen and Deputy Mayor Malash, and I can tell the public here that Essex and the southern part of Essex is in a building boom, so that's great news for Essex. All in favor? It's carried.
Okay, item 9, reports from youth members.
Councillors, anything from youth? No, thank you.
Item 10, County Council update.
I don't have anything. No, there was nothing new. No.
Okay, moving on. Item 11.1, correspondence to be received. That correspondence listed in an agenda item 11.1 be received and where indicated to further share such information with the community using suitable methods of communication. The other one is, yeah.
Yeah. Could I have a mover, please, on this one? Councillor Verbeek and Deputy Mayor Malash, any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Item, moving on. Item number 12, committee meeting minutes. Item 12.1 and item 12.2, that the minutes listed in agenda item 12, together with any recommendations noted therein, be received, approved, and adopted as circulated.
Have a mover, please, Councillor Guerin, and who's going to second it here? Deputy Mayor Malash. All in favor? It's carried. Financial.
Item 13, financial. Item 13.1, December bank payments report, that the December 2019 bank payments report, including the December check register, number 50783 to check number 50920, inclusive, in the amount of $5,123,352.59. The pre-authorized payments for December of $417,575.91, and payroll in the amount of $507,395.47 be ratified as submitted. Okay, so we have a notice of motion here, and I believe that Councillor Verbeek had one that she had wanted to present. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, that'd be under new business.
Sorry, I skipped.
And
Item 14.1, Deputy Mayor Malash. Discussion or report to the public on lot sale at Pocket Corners.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just quickly, we've had some concern, a lot of us have received emails, and I just wanted to make sure that all of council members were included as far as what was going on. So I wanted to have a discussion on the report of this public sale of this lot at Pockets Corners. So just a little bit of a history. A couple of the landowners have approached several council members and the mayor regarding an easement on this piece of property. It just happens to be that it was going to be a street going back into further development that was going to happen behind the current houses that line up on Walker Road at Pockets Corners. But the province had stepped in and kiboshed any further development in that area back in, I think, in the mid-60s or 70s. And so that street lot that was there that was going to be developed into a street became just a piece of property that at that time the old Colchester North Township had ownership of, just in case something did develop at a later time. And then when the great amalgamation happened, that piece of property became the greater town of Essex's property. And we just recently realized that maybe we should be selling that off without realizing that at one time it was going to be a street. And I believe that there's no easement on this piece of property at the current time. But what I would like to do is maybe pass it over to our administration to speak on, if they're prepared to speak on it. Otherwise, what I'd like to do is, and this may have already have happened, that the lot be put on stall as far as trying to sell the property until we have the proper easement put in place. It has to do with Ontario Hydro. And of course, being the big corporation that Ontario Hydro is, it does take some time to get our communications across and talk to the right people, etc. So all of these lots that are on Walker Road, they're all serviced with hydro from the backyard of their property. So this is the importance of having a proper easement to the backyards of these homes that line up on Walker Road at Pockets Corners. So at this point in time, I'm not sure who I should pass it off to, but maybe our CAO, Chris Nepsey. Thank you.
Through your worship, just to confirm very quickly that yes, we are looking into the status of those easements with the hydro company to ensure that they're there and they're appropriate and there's what that's what's needed prior to the sale. So it is on hold until we clarify the issue with the easements.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'd be satisfied then that we just not have, I was concerned that we didn't have it on hold, but this way residents who are listening as well that were concerned know that our administration is looking into it and they're taking care of the issue that's at hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malash. Go ahead. You have another notice motion?
Yep, okay, so agenda item 15, notices of motion. I believe that Deputy Mayor Malash has one, but Councillor Verbeek, did you have one that you wanted to introduce for tonight?
Yes, thank you. That council have a discussion and possibly ask staff to just look at the possibility of having surveillance cameras installed at Coan Park sooner rather than later before there's any more instances of theft or vandalism at our next meeting.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you. So I have this notice of motion in regard to the town's policy on special needs, street signs and warning signs, deer and turtle crossings, etc. But it's mostly for special needs signs that I'm speaking of, autism, blind, disabled signs. But I would prefer if we could move this to the 2 meetings from now. I will not be here at the March 2nd meeting. So I would prefer that it be March 16th, I guess. You don't want to speak on it? You can't. I can't because it's a notice of motion.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
not a problem there, Deputy Mayor Malash. Thank you.
Okay, item 16, reports and announcements from council members.
Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last Friday, Councillor Verbeek and I had the pleasure of going to John R. Park Homestead, where the federal government made a great announcement that they're giving funds to the new heritage site there. The Friends of the John R. Park Homestead who were on our council agenda tonight, are also making a financial contribution. The Zuckelmans are making a financial contribution. So I would really like council to think hard. I was looking through the grants that we have, the community partnership funds, and I see that there's some money left there. I know that that's one possibility for IRCA to go through to get money for that. But I'm going to be honest with council, it was actually embarrassing showing up empty-handed when we are the host municipality. And it's something that if we believe in conservation and if we believe in climate change and heritage, we have heritage grants, we have a climate change coordinator, we have 50 people that showed us that they were interested in this committee. You know, we're looking at youth, we're looking at heritage, we're looking at making them more financially sustainable. You know, when you really, it really clued in when I was there how important this really is. And if IRCA is going to go to any other municipality in our region and ask for 5,000, 10,000, and they say, well, what did the town of Essex give? Well, we gave nothing, and it is embarrassing. There were other counselors there from different communities, and you know, they could tell that I personally was embarrassed, because we went there, we had a nice little speech that our communications department did up, but everybody there was bringing something, and we didn't get a chance to bring anything, even though I believe that, you know, and I hope that the majority of council do believe in having that heritage museum there. So I think that there's, of course, a lot of competing priorities in our budget. In our defense, we had our budget already done. We're getting our budgets done in the fall. So by the time IRCA had come, we did have all of our money spent for, but there could be other avenues. Council wages, you know, we have $25,000 in our budget for council wages. I'd be willing to give that up. We have some council contingency funds, we have some grant monies. So I'm really hoping in the near future we can give a commitment, because they're moving ahead very fast. They talked about it having it open in December. There are also, there's links out there now where you can actually view what it looks like, and it's gorgeous. And it would be nice to have something in there showing that the town of Essex believes in what they're doing for our heritage and our community and our youth.
Thank you, Councillor. Just to go further with that. We got to remember, IRCA did not come forward and apply for any of the grants that were available here. So, you know, I'm encouraging IRCA to do that. You know, come forward and apply for some of the grants that's available here, but they didn't come forward and apply for any. So, I'm willing to help. Oh, hold on.
If you look at our notice of motion, it's not very clear. Just as a point of information, it's not very clear. It does say council will have a discussion.
Yeah, but all I'm saying to you, Councillor, is we do have funds available through grant program, and they didn't apply. And I support IRCA 100%, but I mean, and should we help them out? Yeah, I think maybe we should, but they have to apply for grants too. When the grants are available, they should be there applying for them. So anyways, Councillor Van Andel.
Speaking of IRCA, on Friday, I was in London with the Provincial Ministry's Conservation Authority outreach. It was their third one, the third of 4. The province is bringing together all the communities in the province in small groups to ask them about our opinions on how conservation authorities are serving the public and what they could do better, what they should be doing more of, what they should be doing less of. I was there with Mayor Snively and with CAO Chris Nepsey. We were all seated at different tables. We were, I think there were 8 or 10 of the 35 conservation authorities were in the room. There were mayors, there were councillors, there were CAOs, there were finance people. It was quite a cross section, and many of the other conservation authorities have members who are not elected and who are not administrators. So it was a really wide-ranging group. We were addressed by the minister himself, Minister Yurek, and a wide variety of speakers from the AMO, Home Builders Association, Ducks Unlimited, Ontario Federation of Agriculture, cottage owners, the works. And we all gave our opinions about conservation authorities, good and bad. I can't speak for the other members of our delegation, but I passed on many of the concerns that I've heard from residents of the town of Essex and Ward 3 about IRCA, the Conservation Authority, perception, which may be correct, may not be correct, that sometimes permits are slow in being delivered. The Conservation Authority says it isn't, but residents and builders and especially people with shoreline problems say that it is. For me, I said that I thought that what Conservation Authorities should be doing more of is shoreline protection. I thought what they should be doing less of are things like festivals and entertainment and hall rentals and the things that some people want us to donate money to the Conservation Authority for. There's going to be a 4th consultation, and then we're going to hear about how they intend to change the legislation governing conservation authorities. It turns out they haven't changed it in 70 years. They created them in 1948 and then walked away and let them develop as they have. So we're going to see some changes, and it's going to be interesting to see where it leads. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Malash, did you have something?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to address funding, and I think it's unfortunate that they didn't come back and, you know, if they knew that they were having this announcement, that they didn't come back and ask if we had made a decision as to what we were going to do, because I'm sure that we probably would have had some money, not what they were asking, but I think there's a majority that would have wanted to present some kind of check that day as well. So a little bit unfortunate the way the whole occurrence happened, I think, but it's too bad that they didn't come back and say that day that they were looking for individual communities to step forward at that point in time. I think I agree with Councillor Bondi that we should have maybe had something ready for that day, but without knowing that that's exactly what they were doing, it would have been kind of difficult to have something available at that point in time.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malash, and I agree. There probably can be a little bit of money we could to find, but when they did come forward, I think at the initial, they were looking for $100,000, and we just didn't have $100,000. And I'm all in favor. I sat on the board for quite a while. They do a lot of great things, and but I mean, I heard I got an email that we denied giving them money. That's untrue. We did not deny giving them money. They come forward and ask for $100,000. We already had our budget passed, pretty well passed. But I mean, to come up with some type of money, we probably can. And I agree with Councillor Bondi. Maybe we should have went with something, and there's still a chance we can come up with a little bit of money, but I'll guarantee it won't be $100,000. But I think maybe we can find a little bit to give them. But I agree with Deputy Mayor Meloche that, you know, we should have went with something, but we didn't. But it was such a short notice. But we're not out of the woods yet. There still could be a chance there's some money coming forward. So thank you. Did you have anything else under new business, Deputy Mayor Meloche?
No, that's it. That's all I have. Thanks.
Councillor Guerin?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the Jones family announced a couple weeks ago that they're going to cancel the Bill Jones 3-on-3 hockey tournament. Those that aren't familiar with it, it's been going on for 18 years, has raised nearly $350,000 for local charities and organizations over the years. The tournament was a major annual event, and it was just a personal decision on the family to stop doing it. But I want to definitely thank Lee Jones, Bill Jr., Debbie, their mom Wanda, and all the families and good friends, all the volunteers over the years that helped with the event. It's going to be missed by lots.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Verbeek.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I don't have an announcement, but just to follow up on what the Deputy Mayor mentioned about hopefully there'll be an opportunity to follow through with support of this this great project that they're moving forward with at the John R. Park. You're absolutely right, Deputy Mayor. By December 2020, they're going to have the big grand opening ribbon cutting, and I hope that by then we'll have come up with, does not have to be a substantial amount either, just enough to show that yes, we do support the efforts of John R. Park to put this great educational piece of property together to, again, carry on and teach our heritage to our young people, and also invite more tourism to the area. We've got some time. We can fix that.
Thank you, Councillor. No? Go ahead.
Your mic's on. Okay, item 17, bylaws. Bylaws that require third and final reading. Bylaw 1885, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the February 3rd, 2020 regular meeting of council. Be read a third and final time, and finally adopted on February 18, 2020.
Move it, please. Councillor, who's going to move it? Councillor Verbeek and Councillor Guerin. All in favor? It's carried.
Item 17.2, bylaws that require a first, second, third, and final reading. Bylaw 1883, that bylaw 1883 being a bylaw to enter into an agreement between the town of Essex and Dr. Jessica Laba Kazmarek.
Yeah.
Thank you. To provide consulting services for a nurse practitioner, be read a first, a second, and a third time, and finally passed on February 18, 2020.
Move it, please. Councillor Guerin and Deputy Mayor Meloche. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried.
Item 17.2.2, bylaw 1889, being a bylaw to adopt the 2020 operating and capital budgets. Be read a first, second, and a third time, and finally passed on February 18, 2020.
Mover, please. Need a mover to move the budget. Councillor Van Dolen, seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Meloche, any questions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarification as the budget, because it's all tied in one, that moved by Councillor Bondi, seconded by Councillor Bjorkman, that the PowerPoint presentation regarding the proposed John R. Park Homestead Heritage Center given by Kevin Money, Director of Conservation Services, and Chris Ives, Curator of Essex Region Conservation Authority, together with the letter of request, letters of support, and request financial support to assist with the construction of the Heritage Center, be received, and that administration look at different funding mechanisms as part of the budget process in order to determine the feasibility of financial assistance for the program. And then it said administration was prepared with mechanisms for such requests. In the budget deliberations, we have tax increases, removal of capital. However, it was not brought up by any one council member. I just forwarded that email to all of us because I think that that motion leaves it so that the ball was in our court. Like, we're all pointing the finger and saying the ball was in Urquhart's court. I read it as the ball is in our court. Anyways, with that being said, I also think in terms of budget approval, I think the tennis courts that are going up in Ward 1 are going up in the wrong spot. I'm going to be watching like a hawk the porta potty at the Harrow Park this year because I do not want children in the Harrow community to be sitting on pee and poo. I've also, because councilors have asked a few times and we're not going to receive majority, I don't believe, to get amounts for ward spending. I did do some Bondi math, and it is Bondi math, it's not accurate math. But I do have the Ward 1 community services, the Ward 2 community services, Ward 3 and Ward 4. I've added it up myself because that's all I can do. So Ward 1 is getting $1.3 million. Ward 2 is getting almost $16,000. Ward 3 is getting close to $300,000. Ward 4 is getting around $400,000. So it's pretty fair except for Ward 2. So Councillor Verbeek, if you come knocking on my door for cameras, you'll have them any day.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Councillor Vanendon.
This is strictly regarding the budget, is it not?
Yes.
Well, I'd like to thank staff and the rest of council for doing a great job. I thought we put together, well, especially staff, put together a terrific budget. We managed to get a 0, which I think is wonderful. But I suggested it was the first in 20 or 30 years, and no one's corrected me, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's terrific. And I think we're going to have some more money to spend next year, which will be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? All in favor? It's carried.
Item 17.3, bylaws that require first and second reading. 17.3.1, bylaw 1888, that bylaw 1888 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the February 18th, 2020 regular meeting of council be read a first, a second time, and provisionally adopted on February 18th, 2020.
Mover, please. Councillor Vanendon and then Councillor Guerin. All in favor? It's carried. And I need a motion to adjourn. Deputy Mayor Meloche and Councillor Guerin. All in favor? It's carried. And I want to thank the people out in the audience for coming out tonight. We did have a good, nice crowd. Usually there's only 1 or 2 people here, but we have some people in the audience tonight. And thank you for coming out and supporting council and supporting the town.